So in the past 5 years, Gilbert, Arizona has grown significantly by tens of thousands of people. And there are a fair amount of people that I've talked to who have moved here and they're like, I'm not happy with where I chose to live. And this is the thing, more often than not, I find that it's not Gilbert's the issue, it's that they moved to the wrong area of Gilbert. There's definitely some areas of Gilbert that are gonna be more congested, busier, you're gonna have more things going on. There's other parts of Gilbert though that are gonna be more remote and feel like you're more on the outskirts of town. So today we're gonna break down and really talk about the different areas of Gilbert, 4 different parts of Gilbert, and what makes each of these areas unique. I'm Courtney Strzelczyk. I'm a local real estate agent here in the Phoenix East Valley, and I talk a lot about what life is like and try to highlight a lot of things that you can't find on Zillow or ChatGPT. So if you're interested in moving to this area, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. So the first part of Gilbert we're gonna talk about is more the northwest part of Gilbert, and this is often referred to as the OG, the original part of Gilbert, or the heart of Gilbert. And the main reason for that is, first off, this is the older part of town, but it's also the part where we have downtown Gilbert, also called the Heritage District. This is a great pocket if you're not familiar. We have a lot of different restaurants here. They have different events. They have running races. They have a farmer's market. Just a really, really good central location. And there's also become more nightlife in this area, and they have actual plans in the downtown to add several new restaurants, apartment complexes, but it is gonna be a little bit busier in this part of town. You also have a couple great parks. Freestone Park is another OG park, huge area. They have a skate park, batting cages, a little lake there, tons of sports fields, playground, all of those sorts of things, even a rec center there as well. You also have Riparian Preserve. This is gonna be a little bit further northeast, but it's a beautiful nature area, great place to just go if you're trying to find a more peaceful outdoor space, just a really quiet area. But one of the big reasons that people often kind of gravitate towards this part of Gilbert is really the location. You're not terribly far from Highway 60, and Highway 60 is gonna be that main highway that gets you into more central parts of the Phoenix metro area, like the airport, downtown Tempe, Scottsdale, central Phoenix. And if you have to access any of those areas regularly, and if you want to keep your commute time lower, you're definitely gonna wanna stay closer to that Highway 60, more on the north part of Gilbert. Now, something about this area too, I mentioned, it's the OG part of Gilbert, right? So a lot of the homes were gonna be built in like the late 80s, early 90s. So you're gonna see a lot of that very traditional desert style home, the tile roofs, the stucco siding, and you are gonna find more like smaller subdivisions. I know some people really love the huge master plan communities, like with all the amenities, the pools, the clubhouse and everything. We don't have as much of that in this part of Gilbert. There are 2 communities that are bigger master plan communities in this area: Val Vista Lakes and the Islands. These are both lake communities. So you will find a little bit more of community amenities in these 2 neighborhoods. But for the most part, outside of this, you'll maybe find neighborhoods that have like green spaces and like a little playground, but not near as big as what you find in other parts of Gilbert or like Queen Creek. But this area is really best for people that are wanting to be close to downtown, and then also, and more importantly, people that want a shorter commute time and have to go more into the central part of Phoenix Metro regularly. The second part that we're gonna highlight is more of that central part of Gilbert, and this is gonna be closer to Highway 202. So on other social media platforms, I actually have highlighted these 4 main areas of Gilbert, and this one seemed to be the most popular or favorite part of Gilbert. And the ironic part about it is this: when I first moved to Arizona in 2015, there really was not that much going on in this part of Gilbert, but in the past like 5 to 10 years, we've seen so much growth, so many more things to do, so much more like shopping, a lot more restaurants. And this area, you're gonna have Santan Village, which is the main shopping center here in Gilbert. I mean, it has everything that you can think of. I mean, Costco, Dick's, Nordstrom's Rack, Home Goods, Lululemon, it has it all. They're actually putting in a Whole Foods there this year as well. And there's a ton of great restaurants in this location too. The other thing is Agritopia. Used to be a kind of a small pocket, but they expanded it. And now we're getting a lot of some nicer restaurants there too. The Mission should be opening there. Hopefully, they said it was supposed to open a couple months ago, but you know how construction goes. But hopefully within the next month, the Mission will open there. It's supposed to be, there's a location in Scottsdale, great restaurant, really beautiful area as well. There's some walking trails around there. And then you also have areas like Verde at Cooley Station. This is actually a giant master plan community, but they put like their own downtown area. Again, another great pocket for just restaurants, things to do, and they actually have events there too. There's a little grass area in the middle of Verde at Cooley Station. And last Friday, for example, they had a movie night. They were playing Frozen, so they had a big projector out there. And then they do other things like yoga classes I've seen and other events in that green space. So it definitely brings a little bit of sense of community having these events in this area as well. And you will find a couple pockets of homes that are like maybe a little bit older, but for the most part, we saw a lot of homes built in the 2000s and onward. And it's also, this area is the home of Gilbert's two favorite neighborhoods, Morrison Ranch, beautiful neighborhood, tree-lined streets, a lot of greenery, and then Agritopia, which is the neighborhood part of, I know we talked about Agritopia having a lot of restaurants, but there's actually a neighborhood part, beautiful like craftsman style, farmhouse style homes. And they actually at Christmas time, they go crazy. All the homes are lit up. It gets really, really packed, but it's a great place to like walk around and just see a lot of different Christmas lights. And then there are a couple pockets of newer construction, but for the most part, it's been built out pretty well. There's not, I mean, for the most part, you're looking at homes that have already been lived in. Now, as far as commuting, you still have access to Highway 202. So I do know some people that have lived in this area and still have commuted to like Central Phoenix and Scottsdale, but you're gonna be a little bit further away, but you still have close access to highway, which is a huge thing. If you're trying to keep your commute time down and not being in the car all day long, definitely try to stay closer to a major highway. There's also a fair amount of apartment complexes, some townhome communities, some really pretty townhome communities in this area as well. But it does get pretty busy. You know, it's not gonna get like super congested like Central Phoenix, but we do have quite a bit of traffic. And just because we've had a lot more like restaurants and shopping come to this area, it does get a little bit more congested than some of the areas I'm about to talk about. Now, the next part of Gilbert we're going to talk about is South-ish Gilbert. We aren't all the way south, but we're getting a little bit farther in the woods, if you will. And this area, as you get further south, you're getting further away from, you know, Central Phoenix, the metro area. You're getting more on the outskirts. It's going to get a little bit more of a suburban feel, and you are going to see newer construction this way as well. If you are looking for new construction for a home, this is, you know, one of the, you know, Gilbert doesn't have a lot of new construction, but you're going to find more options in this area. Waterston Central, of course, is probably one of the most popular ones right now. This is a master plan community, beautiful amenities. It's going to be like some of the homes start in the 700s, but for the most part, you're going to be on a pretty tiny lot for those lower priced homes, but then it goes all the way up to like a little bit over $1 million. There's also Stonegate Court. This is a Toll Brothers community. They're close to closeout though. There's not much available here, but these are going to be more luxury type homes on pretty big lots. Now it does, like I mentioned, get a little bit quieter here. You still have options. There's some plazas with restaurants and stuff, but it's not going to have quite as much as the other two sections of Gilbert that I was referring to. However, you do have Gilbert Regional Park in this part of Gilbert, and it is an incredible park. Tons of pickleball. You have a pretty epic playground and splash pad there. There's an amphitheater there with this huge field. They actually host different events in this amphitheater. They actually had a concert like in October, Boots in the Park. Pitbull was there. It was like a whole bunch of random artists actually, but pretty cool event. But the one thing to be aware of in this area is, again, you're getting a little bit further on the outskirts of Phoenix, the metro area. You're getting a little bit further from Highway 202. So you just want to make sure you're checking your commute times. If you're working like in Tempe or Mesa or maybe even locally, it's usually not as big of a deal. It's when you have to go more into the central part of the metro area. Okay, so the fourth part of Gilbert is the South south part of Gilbert, the true south part of Gilbert. And this area, I would say the biggest thing to be aware of, or red flag, is that you're pretty far south, so you're not close to a highway. You're going to be several miles away from 202. And I actually had someone, they were relocating here from the Seattle area, and when we were talking on the phone, they were like, yeah, I want to be pretty close access to the Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. I travel quite a bit. I don't want to do Queen Creek because that's just too far away. And then they, said they were interested in some neighborhoods in this part of Gilbert. And I was like, okay, one thing I would do is just check your commute times, because you might be surprised how far out this part of Gilbert is. And in depending what part of Queen Creek you're in, this part of Gilbert can actually be as long of a commute or even longer of a commute than Queen Creek. So just because it has that city, Gilbert, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be closer than Queen Creek or even, certain pockets of Santan Valley. So something is to be aware of, do your homework and make sure you're okay with those commute times and understand those commute times. The other thing too is those surface roads, all the roads that are in our grid system, not on the highway, those, you're going through several cycles of lights. So even though it's only maybe 4 miles away from the highway, you can be on those roads for quite some time, particularly if it's, during those more rush hour periods. Now, the reason why people love this area though, is it's quieter. It feels a little bit more suburban, definitely feels very family oriented. And some people, they don't want to be around the busyness that we see in the more of the north parts of Gilbert. They like the more quiet lifestyle. We have some beautiful neighborhoods. There's Seville, which is a beautiful golf course community. And then there's also some new construction communities as well. Not a ton of options. Gilbert's kind of running out of new construction, but we do have neighborhoods like Adora Trails. Now, the best way to really figure out if one of these parts of Gilbert would work for you or not is definitely getting your boots on the ground and exploring. And if no one has walked you through the home buying process here in Gilbert or the East Valley, I have a link below where you can actually schedule a call with me and we can see if I can provide some resources and be of service to you. And I also have a playlist right here if you want to learn more about living in Gilbert. I talk a lot about this city and share a lot of good insights, so go ahead and check that out. Thank you so much for your time and have a fantastic day.